Clefable from Pokemon 151 is actually a very interesting card that I think you could very easily build a deck around. It's a 100 HP Stage 1 Pokemon. It's got Psychic typing, which is fantastic, and it has the attack More Moon for 3 Psychic Energy. We deal 50 damage, and if our opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by this attack, we take 1 more prize card. Now that's very, very good as an effect. If you have been on Pokemon Twitter recently, you'll know that Iron Hands EX is coming out very shortly. It has the same text. Everyone is very hyped about it. There is cards like ADP in the past that had similar effects, incredibly strong. This, a little bit overcosted, a little bit underpowered, but still potentially very, very strong if we can get the attack off for a knockout. Solving that underpowered problem, we use Cleansing Gloves in this deck to allow us to hit an extra 30 damage on other Psychic Pokemon. So any Ralts or Comfey on the field of play will take 80 damage instead, meaning that our Clefable will be able to attack for 2 prizes into 2 of the most common Pokemon in the game. But that's not the only Psychic Clefable that we get to make use of. We also get to use Clefable EX from Obsidian Flames. It has the ability Lunar Zone, which allows all of our Pokemon with Psychic Energy to retreat for free. It has Wondrous Moon, and attack for 3 Psychic Energy. It deals 170 damage and redistributes our Psychic Energy around the board. Probably not required, but potentially useful if we need it. And I would personally say that the most important card out of the 3, though, is the old Clefairy from Lost Origin. It has the ability Moon Watching Party, which allows us, when this Pokemon is in the active, to accelerate a Psychic Energy to each of our Clefairy in play, potentially 3 Psychic Energies every turn, and then for 3 Colorless Energy, we attack with Wonderstorm, which does 20 damage times the amount of Psychic Energies that are in play. We can get a ton of extra Psychic Energy in play thanks to Gardevoir EX, the Psychic Embrace ability obviously being one of the best meta cards in the game right now, allows us to get that Clefairy's attack to very, very high numbers, potentially taking one-shots on even the bulkiest Pokemon VMAX. And then right at the very end of the game, we can make use of Frontier Road Wyrdeer V, I almost forgot the name of the Pokemon there for a second, which allows us to move all of our energy in play onto this Pokemon when it comes into the active, and then we can use Psyshield Bash for 3 colorless energy and deal 40 damage times the number of energy attached to us. It's not unrealistic that we could deal 400 or 500 damage with Wyrdeer, so there is literally nothing in the game that is safe. Here is the deck list. It's on the screen for us, as well as down in the description. I think it's a lot of fun. I've played a couple of games with it, and I'm not going to lie to you, I've recorded the game that we're going to play already, and unfortunately we didn't get a chance to use Clefable, which is a bit of a shame, but I think there's a lot of potential here. I just can't quite get it to work out the way that I want it to, but ultimately, the concept of using Clefairy is very, very strong. Let's jump into that game and see exactly how it went. It's time to play with Clefairy and Clefable. Let's see if we can get ourselves into a match that is winnable. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been playing this deck for a very long time, and there are a couple of matchups at the moment that are very, very sketchy, so we'll wait and see how we go. This start is actually really good if we're going second, but right now going first, not that great. We get a Ralts here. We can attach an energy to our Ralts on the bench, and then just pass the turn. That is not ideal, but if we were going second, we actually have access to a Clefairy in the active spot that has the Moon Viewing Invitation. This is the one from Pokemon 151, and it lets you search out 3 Clefairy from your deck and put them onto your bench. So if we were going second, our bench would be 4 Clefairy and a Ralts, which would be an incredible, incredible setup. Right now, though, not a very good one, and our hand does not look great. I'm not going to lie to you, there is not a lot going on here. At the very least, we have Artisan, and we have Cynthia's Ambition if our opponent manages to take a KO this turn, but there's not a lot going on for us. I think our best case scenario is our opponent whiffs an attack, we can Artisan for another Ralts, and then Moon Viewing for 3 Clefable. That's pretty much the best that we can hope for right now. There's nothing much else going on, so hopefully this Miraidon deck does not get a good setup. Miraidon is a gambler's deck. There is a lot of things that can go wrong, but a lot of things that can go very, very right as well. We'll have to wait and see. This is not ideal. This hand, obviously, not quite. I mean, it's. I want to say not quite as good as the last hand. Last hand had Kirlia and Gardevoir EX, which are very, very good. But to be brutally honest, there's not much that we're missing here. We have an energy to attach next turn if we need to. Plus, we have a Ralts, we have a Heavy Ball, and we have Iono. So, lots of cards that we could make use of, as well as the Artisan here. We're going to see a retreat into Mareep. That probably means that our opponent doesn't have the knockout this turn. So we can definitely work with this. Suddenly this game is just that little bit easier for us to work with. We are going to use Artisan here to grab ourselves a Ralts out of our deck. Now, you might ask, why would we do that when we already have one in hand? It means that we're more likely to draw into cards that we want off of this Iono, because we don't necessarily want another Ralts. The 3 bench spaces that we want to use are 4 Clefairies, so we don't want to use all of our spaces up on other Pokemon. Instead, we want to give ourselves as good a chance as any to draw into cards like this Kirlia, which we definitely needed. So now we can refinement, we can start drawing some cards, discard that Psychic Energy, and then see how we go. And now we've got an extra Kirlia for next turn, plus the Clefairy. We are looking pretty good now. And if, to be honest, if you'd said to me that against Miraidon we'd be able to set up a board that looks like this, I'd be happy with it. It's a pretty solid one. We've got double Kirlia next turn. We've got Gardevoir EX in hand. Plus, we've got Clefairy. So, we should be able to at least get an attack off. The real question is going to be whether we can get a knockout. Knockout's going to be the key. And it sucks, to be honest. It really sucks that we're up against this Miraidon deck, and we're actually in a position where we've got a board, because I feel like if we were up against another version of this deck, or another variant of meta deck on the ladder, we might be able to use Clefable just a little bit more. But right now, Clefable EX is only good for retreat. The Clefairy is obviously much stronger as an attacker, so I might have let everyone down depending on how this game goes. I might potentially be about to play a game with the deck where we don't use the cards in the thumbnail, which I don't feel great about. I don't feel great about it, but to be honest, if the deck works, really those Clefables are just bonuses anyway. They're never going to be the #1 attackers in your deck because they are so specific. Whereas this Clefairy is obviously strong, and combining it with Gardevoir and also our Wyrdeer V is very, very good. So I'm not going to say no to it by any stretch. We're going to see how we go and whether or not we can get a board set up, but I think we're looking pretty good. Our opponent now setting their board up quite nicely. They've got a Raikou and a Miraidon. Both of them now have Bravery Charm, so very difficult to knock out. But it's important to note that every time we take a knockout, we take 2 prizes. Every time they take a knockout, they're only taking 1. So if we can set up a really, really nice board here, maybe find that Clefable back, that Clefairy back, that would be fantastic. There is our Clefable, by the way. But yeah, if we can find the Clefairy back, then maybe we can give ourselves a sneaky chance to get a big knockout here. Now, the question is, what do we do first? Do we use the Moon Watching Party, or do we refine? I think I'm going to use refinement. We'll discard that energy, and we'll see what we can draw into. I really like the Cynthia's Ambition, and I've accidentally used the wrong Kirlia to draw cards here. I could have drawn an extra one off of that, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. And then we can Refinement again. That's a very, very good card, a very, very good ability. Get rid of another Psychic Energy and find ourselves a whole bunch of switching cards, which will let us use Moon Watching Party over and over and over again. We'll throw down these energies onto the bench. We can potentially use the Switch or the Escape Rope. I don't know what card my opponent would give me, though, if I did use Escape Rope, so maybe it's not worth doing that right now. I can grab another Ralts with Artisan if I want, but I don't necessarily care too much about that. Instead, I would rather find the Super Rod, or even our what do you call it? The one where we get the lower level Pokemon out of this card pile I've forgotten. Let's use Moon Watching Party again. We'll accelerate some more energy onto the field of play. There are currently 6 energies in the deck, so now down to 4. And if we Escape Rope again, we get access to a 3rd Moon Watching Party, but we don't get to guarantee that we attack into a 2-prize Pokemon. So can we afford to attack into a 60 HP Mareep? I don't know that we can. I think we might need to just commit here to our Gardevoir and potentially Psychic Embrace. At the moment we're doing 2 plus, so I think we might actually need to Escape Rope. I think we might just need to take a single prize knockout here. Hopefully our opponent just gives us a 2-prizer. Maybe they go into the Miraidon thinking that it's not possible for us to take the knockout. No, they go into the Mareep. So we're just going to use this here as an opportunity to, first of all, get some energy into play, but also get some energy into the discard pile, because energies in our deck are not particularly useful for us. Energies in our discard pile are very, very good. And this particular attack here with our Clefairy is going to allow us to take the KO on the Mareep, but also get 3 Psychic Energies in the discard pile for next turn. Now, unfortunately, this Mareep in the active has 60 HP, so we can't knock it out with Clefable, which does suck. If we had 10 damage counters on the Mareep, we would be able to do it. But I think we're going to have to just settle for the Wonder Storm here for 160. We would have been able to get 200 damage, so a knockout on a Raikou V definitely achievable. Whether it's able to do it with the Raikou V and the Stone, I'm not 100% sure. We'll just wait and see here. I'm just going to very quickly, my voice, I've recorded 2 videos today. My voice is a little bit parched, so I'm going to take a sip of delicious Coca-Cola Zero sugar. So Coke, if you're watching, I'll happily be sponsored by you. Refreshing, that's so nice. Little sip of soft drink. Can't go wrong, can ya? How do we win this game? How do we go about winning this game? Taking that single prize is very awkward. It's not the end of the world. It just means that we have to take 3 knockouts on our next 3 attacks. Like, we have to do that before our opponent is able to kind of steamroll our board here. And being able to knock out Kirlia or Gardevoir is actually really frightening. So that boss onto Kirlia, even though it leaves our energy in play, it kind of sucks, because it means now that we don't have any way to draw cards. So I think we're going to need to go with the Artisan for the Ralts, which is obviously very strong. And the good thing here is we do get access to Moonwatching Party again, so I do like that. Let's go for that Artisan now and grab out that extra Ralts. We do need the Kirlias. Like, we really need to draw cards to be able to get going in this game. There's only 2 more energy left in the deck, so Moonwatching Party is available, but only 1 more time. We'll use that to accelerate the last 2 energy in our deck onto our Killer Fairies on the bench. And right now, we are dealing, what, 180 damage? Maybe 100, maybe 200? It's 200. Okay, so we need 30 more. So I think this Clefairy actually will guaranteed get the knockout on this Raikou. The question is, do we want to bench anything else? And I mean, we could bench the Mew and Iono. That's definitely not bad. We could also just boss. And I really like the idea of bossing out this Raikou on the bench, only because it's easier for us to boss and take the knockout here than spread damage around the field, and I don't want to do that. I would much rather just cleanly take this knockout. So we will just go for the Wonder Storm here for 200 and hold our hand as it is. It's obviously a gamble. We maybe could have or should have put the Mew into play just in case our opponent shuffles our hand away with Iono, but now holding this hand, I'm feeling pretty good that we will be able to win this game. Really, that Mew EX on the bench is what we're going to be targeting down next. As long as we can deal 180 damage, we should be able to get a victory. So we'll see whether Clefairy can do it. Again, right now, our opponent can only ever take 1 prize. They've got 4 prize cards remaining. They must attack 4 more times to win. Whereas us, we can attack twice to win the game with 3 prizes remaining. Actually, that's not true. Our opponent could theoretically knock out Gardevoir EX with a Raichu. That is something that they could do. So I shouldn't presume to know what our opponent is capable of. Definitely achievable for them by every metric that we could possibly measure by. You can 100% get a knockout with the Raichu. So we'll wait and see whether they can actually do it here. But yeah, I think we're looking pretty good at the moment. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 energy in play, so that's 200 damage, which is pretty gosh darn good. I think they're just going to go for the Lightning Rondo. Okay, well now I feel even better, because I feel like promoting the Clefairy here is almost a guaranteed win if we can get the boss's orders off onto the Mew EX. So let's just see what we've got working with, what we've got to work with here. We've got the Rescue Carrier and we've got the Level Ball. Let's just quickly Artisan just to double check what we've got access to. So we've got the Manaphy. We've got one Kirlia in deck, plus we've got the Wyrdeer. There are no energies left, which is good. We do want to make sure that we don't accidentally click done here. So let's get rid of that Manaphy, because we're not going to search it out. We just want to know what's in the deck. So we do know we can grab the copies of Clefairy back with our Rescue Carrier. Definitely good. I also like the Kirlia, although the Clefairy, there's no real reason not to get it. I mean, could grab the Ralts, maybe? I think we'll grab the Clefairy. I think there's no real reason not to get it, because we can always moon-watching party to those. It's tricky, because all of these cards are good. I kind of like the Ralts as well, because if they knock out the Gardevoir, then that could be a pain. Let's grab the Ralts. We know that there's no energy in deck anyway, so it's not like the moon-watching party is going to get much value right now. What we do want to do, though, is we do want to get the Kirlia in play, so that we can start drawing some more cards. And right here, we're in a pretty good spot. I'm going to refinement. We're probably going to get rid of one of these Clefables. I don't really need them, unfortunately. Goodbye, Poster Child. And now a Rod. Oh, that's very, very good. This is a very, very good little card. We could put some energy back in the deck to use our Clefairy again. We can get that Kirlia back, which I like. Now, this is really good as well, because it means we don't have to damage Pokemon to get the energy in play. So we can put those double energies back onto our Clefairies on the bench. I like that a lot. What else can we do potentially here? I mean, we have the boss, so we're going to play that down, I think. We will boss the Mew EX. Now we're doing exactly 180 damage. We could put the Clefable EX in play and make it so that all of our Pokemon with Psychic have free retreat. I don't think we need to, though. I think we can just Wonder Storm here, deal 180 damage, and then next turn, we're really in a position where as long as we get Wyrdeer in play next turn, we should be able to win this game. Because our opponent will only be able to take 2 prizes next turn, even if they get the KO on the Gardevoir EX. We can Wyrdeer. We have enough energy, I think, to knock out just about anything in the game, let alone the in the Miraidon deck. There's only, what, 270 HP is the max? Potentially. There is the Raichu, so they could potentially be going for it. They get the Forest Sealstone as well, so and holding on to that. Maybe the Raikou V having the Charm has been a bit of a pain for them. They've not been able to use that Forest Sealstone on a Pokemon V the whole game. Raichu will be able to do it now. I presume that they are just artisaning to check to see whether they could get there. They're actually doing really... This is going to... Oh, no, they're not going for the boss. They've not got the boss. Okay, they've not got the boss. They're going to Iono, which means now with the Ultra Ball... Does that just win the game? I think it does. No matter what we draw here... That Beach Court, okay. No matter what we draw here, as long as we keep the energy in play that we currently have, we should just be able to win. They Photon Blaster, so we can promote a basic now. Any basic Pokemon with 1 retreat cost, so the Ralts specifically, we can put that into the active thanks to the Beach Court that our opponent put down. And then the Ultra Ball, we can refinement away 2 cards or just get the copy of Wyrdeer that we need. So let's refinement. We'll get rid of the Manaphy. We don't need that. We can draw 2 cards. We can Ultra Ball these 2 cards away. We know the Wyrdeer was in the deck from before, so we're going to go and grab it. Here he comes. The Frontier Road Wyrdeer is going to take the knockout on this Miraidon. Let's very quickly Psychic Embrace, see how many energy we can get in play. This is by far the slowest thing to do in the Pokemon TCG on Pokemon Live. It takes so long. In fact, 50% of this video is just going to be me using Psychic Embrace to accelerate all of these energies into the field of play. And the best part is once they're all in play, we then need to use the Wyrdeer to accelerate them into the active to take the knockout. Although, to be honest, I think the fact that we've got the Gardevoir actually means that we can attack with the Clefairy anyway. I think the Wyrdeer was only required if we did get knocked out, which I assumed that we would, and we didn't. So let's Frontier Road. We now need to click on every single one of these and drag it over to the Wyrdeer, every single energy, and we are going to do that. We are going to explicitly go for every single energy. 9 energy, 10 energy, 11, 12, move it over, thank you very much, 13, and now we are dealing 13 times 40 damage for this Wyrdeer. That is a ton into this Miraidon. 520 damage. and for some reason, I don't know why that happened, for some reason it looked like the game freaked out on me. Well, what a deck. A very, very good one, to be brutally honest. This one could theoretically beat pretty much anything if it gets a chance. I think it's great, and I just apologize that I didn't get a chance to attack with the Clefables, but you know what? You will. When you copy the list from the description into Live and play it yourself, whilst you're there, you can subscribe, you can like the video, you can comment about how disappointed you are you didn't see Clefable. I'll see you all next time for more from the Sableyes. Farewell, goodbye.